Right, so let's start this video off with a little bit on the ticket office closures. We need them to shut to cut costs, say, privatised train companies. We need staff in place to keep people safe and help those who need it, say the unions. One of the most vocal on this at the moment is tssa General Secretary candidate Bonnie Craven. But whilst we apparently can't afford to maintain our own ticket office when we've binned off things like the Northern Powerhouse Rail project, we can't afford to invest in our own railways at all, unless it's the overblown, overpriced vanity project that has become known as HS2, although even that has been scaled back, of course. But, you're going to love this one, but we can apparently afford to build more railways, just not here. For some reason, we're building them in Turkey, which will really speed up travel times from London to the southwest and back, or wherever else the rail service is currently failing you. Yes, you heard me right. We in the UK, our government, yes, they're investing in railways in Turkey, but not just any railway. We're investing in Turkey getting high-speed electric rail, no less. We've managed to find £680 million to underwrite a loan to Turkey to help them finish off the, I'm going to get this wrong, but I'm going to try and say it anyway, Mersin-Adana-Gaziantep high-speed railway. Yes, on behalf of the Turkish Ministry of Transport. Apparently all of this is in keeping with Rishi Sunak's pledge of growing our economy by investing in infrastructure to help someone else's economy, apparently. The government speaks for why this benefits us consists of new export contract opportunities, please buy our stuff, in other words, we helped you build a train track kind of thinking, and benefits to engineering and infrastructure management sectors based here. You know what would also benefit them? Building high-speed electric rail here in this country instead of over there, but that's apparently by the by and completely unaffordable, according to these same politicians. Manchester Metro Mayor Andy Burnham has weighed in on this story in a tweet saying, so we can't afford to keep our ticket offices open, but we can afford to build a new line in Turkey. Well, he's been panned for this, strangely enough. The pedants of Twitter, or Exeter, or whatever they're calling it now Musk has changed the logo and got rid of the little blue bird, have managed to get a community note raised on this, proper wet lettuce stuff to be honest, saying the UK government is not paying for a railway in Turkey. It is underwriting a loan by 3 banks, which is reinsured by Italy and Austria. This is part of an export finance deal on the condition that UK exporters supply components, engineering and electronic infrastructure. So we're helping them build a railway then, both with finance and with exported supplies of components, engineering and electronic infrastructure. It is still us, the UK, coughing up in effect £680 million to Turkey, albeit in the form of a loan guarantee. But it's money we could use to invest in our own railways instead. We can find it to, in effect, lend to another country. Why can't we find it to invest in this one? It's like I say over and over, we can always find money for stuff because we can never run out of it when we print it all ourselves. The community note literally has government SPAD written all over it, to be quite honest with you. Speaking of the government, the comic that passes for a newspaper calling itself the Daily Express has gone in on Burnham as well, claiming he's been fact-checked. The Daily Express and facts in the same sentence. I know, things you never thought you'd ever see. But their fact check comes in the form of a quote from a Tory MP, effectively, that's all it is, attacking Burnham, basically, so it's opinion then. As Kevin Hollinwright, the business minister, said of Burnham's tweet, Labour doesn't even understand basic economics. This isn't a grant, foreign aid, or even a loan. UK Export Finance is providing a loan guarantee on the condition UK firms supply the Turkish railway. This money will be going back into the pockets of our exporters, helping firms across the UK. So we're helping to build a railway then. Underwriting a loan is accepting the risk if the country owing doesn't pay up. We've agreed to do this for Turkey, for a leader with the sort of reputation that Recep Tayyip Erdogan has. We've accepted liability for a foreign project if it all goes Pete Tong, in exchange for basically British services being utilised to help build this, and perhaps some future infrastructure there if we're lucky, but it still doesn't excuse the fact the infrastructure is needed here. The investment is needed here, and it isn't coming. Hollinwright accuses Burnham of not knowing economics, but where is the economic competence in transport links becoming slower, more decrepit, more expensive to maintain, and slowly harming our own economy here in the UK in all sectors that rely on the railway network? Turkey, as a result of this new high-speed electric rail, will help that country go greener. Again, the hypocrisy is blatant when the Tories reckon their anti-green policy stance is what won them the recent Uxbridge by-election. It'll be low-carbon travel for Turks, increased connectivity, reduced traffic congestion, and the amount of it, and they figure it'll save them 157,000 tonnes in CO2 emissions in the first year of going live. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could have these things? Why can't we have them? Well, you can't. We can't afford to have them here. We keep electing people who want to keep cutting everything because they keep telling us we can't afford it. But we can afford to take the risk of carrying the can for this Turkish loan, though. We'll have to if they welch on it, won't we? Maybe they'll call it Turkish delight out there. They get their brand new railway, and if they decide for whatever reason that they can no longer afford the repayments and not to pay, and who would put such things past someone like Erdogan? He needed a guarantor for his country to get this loan, after all, which we've provided. So we'll have to pay while his country still enjoys their railway. It'd hardly get repossessed, would it? The eternally awful Bert Lee Anderson, 30p Lee, is also weighed in against Burnham. This will secure British jobs and put food on the table for British families, he said. Well, for those who work in those aforementioned sectors, maybe, but not if we end up saddled with Turkey's debt. Are we really so desperate for trade now we're underwriting other countries' liabilities when we apparently have so many of our own, so much debt of our own, we can't invest in the same things we're prepared to underwrite loans for others to do? I mean, come on, where's the common sense here? Help me out. I can't see it. Any Tory defending this is twisted, frankly, in my opinion. Any claims of we can't afford to invest in rail should be met with, well, why are we taking on the financial risk of other countries' rail projects then? And any further talk of ticket office closures should be met with this as an example of where the government is prepared to find money for rail when it has to. It just doesn't believe in finding it for our own. Look at this from another perspective. Let's go to Wales for a bit. I quite like Wales. Bit of a jump, I agree, from what we've just been talking about, but bear with me. And equally, the argument applies down here in the southwest too, equally forgotten. Now, HS2 was sold as a big boost to England and Wales, despite not one iota of the HS2 line being in Wales. Now, this matters because by claiming Wales will benefit, Wales has lost out on consequential funding for its rail, something Scotland has had, and equally the same applies down this end of the country by being classified as England's too. Tory-run Cornwall Council haven't raised a peep about that, though, the swines. England, my arse. But let's not get into that here. Anyway, the Welsh government have calculated they've been screwed out of about £5 billion by this. Both Welsh Tories and Labour have wanted HS2 reclassified to cough up the funding to Wales they feel it is owed. And you can see the logic of that. As you can imagine, seeing the government underwriting loans for rail infrastructure to Turkey has gone down like cold sick with them and with Wales, and will all the more so if we get lumbered with any debt for very little return, because that debt will get passed on to Welsh voters too, and southwestern ones, just like the rest of us. Now, of course, all of this talk of Turkey not paying up is conjecture. It's postulating, isn't it? You're just making stuff up, Damo. But it's what could happen. It's why Turkey needed this loan to be underwritten. Yet this is the position that the Tories have put us in, isn't it? They've done this to us. They've underwritten this. We need investment here because not doing so is harming our economy. As much as Tory MPs will bleat this Turkey job is good for the economy. We need investment nationwide in our transport links, in improving these services. But because they are all privatised, the government absolves itself of responsibility for them and defers to the rail companies, who are constantly making cuts and putting any profits that should be used on infrastructure to improve said service into shareholders' pockets instead. Such is the false economic argument of privatisation. It's high time we renationalised the lot and elected politicians who are going to do it. So forget both Sunak and Starmer, if that's the case, because neither of them are going to renationalise. It's still green policy to get that done, though, and it'll still be green policy come the next election. And then it'll be green policy being enacted here in this country. Green railways here in the UK next, not watching them getting built in Turkey, wondering if that's something else we'll end up having to pay for in the long run too. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the video useful. Please do like, share and subscribe if you did. More content out daily, of course. Meanwhile, here's a video on that tssa rail campaign of Bonnie Craven, now on the ballot for that General Secretary post. Another Mick Lynch in the making, if you will. Make no mistake. And I'll hopefully catch you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.